Hey guys, and welcome back to Chaotic TV. This is Game 2 of IronSquid, Chapter 2, Group G selected games. And in the bottom left we have the Pink Zerg playing for Team Evil Geniuses. He is Stephano, formerly of Millennium, which is why he's using that account.
Alright, and spawning across from him on this ESC Cloud Kingdom map, it is the green Protoss player, MouseSports MaNa.
So a very interesting play coming out of MaNa, the Swedish player, I believe. And we saw just basic roach into Broodlord play from Stephano last game. I just noticed in between the break that Stephano is using his Millennium ID, and that's probably because IronSquid was played on the European server as it was cast in England.
MaNa is actually from Poland.
Oh, then I'm totally wrong. Sorry, MaNa.
You're close though. They're next to each other somewhat.
Yeah, one's north of it. Anyway, I was thinking of Thorzane. That's probably what I was thinking of. More probe harassment from MaNa. I'm curious as to what he's going to go to. We saw a little bit of unorthodox play. It's probably because you and I have casted some Europeans before, and they always have some very interesting play. It doesn't always work out, but when it does, it's very stylish. And MaNa went for that carrier style when he saw that Stephano had no air. And it would have worked, but Stephano, losing all of his supply in the first major engagement, just remaxed with air units that became Broodlords and eventually took out MaNa.
Yeah, I mean, it is a really interesting style. It's a little different than the Archon toilet you usually see. He was trying to use carriers and Storm to deal with the huge Broodlord army.
Yeah. I like the idea of the Archon toilet, but you rarely see people actually throw it down effectively. You see a great vortex, but they may not have so many Archons, or they have plenty of Archons and they miss the vortex. So it's a huge gamble when you go for that type of thing. And I like the carriers, and that was a huge gamble itself. I like seeing the carriers probably because of a nostalgia sake, and they're going to be gone come Heart of the Swarm in March.
I mean, carriers, they've had, like I said, a little bit of resurgence, especially with the comeback of early Phoenix play. It's becoming more popular for Protoss right now. So that just leads a more natural transition later into the game. Not having to build the Stargates and then go straight into that tech. You'll already have a Stargate there. You can get the Fleet Beacon earlier if you feel like you want to do that. It's just a more natural transition with that kind of play. And it's a really fast third for Stephano here.
With no scout from MaNa. I mean, he's got a watchtower, but that's about it with that probe.
Yeah, I mean, he knows.
Yeah, it's pretty safe bet that a Zerg will be taking all three bases on this map, and we see the second gas coming down for MaNa, a bit differently timed than last game. They were put down at the same time in last game, and one is spaced farther out.
I didn't even bother to check if he put two probes on each or if he took the full three, but
Just
a lot of
got
times
three
we've
on
seen
that first one.
Yeah, the last game. So a lot of times when you see the two come down at the same time, that's what it would be for.
And looks like
Stephano was puzzled by something.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what he was thinking about. Stephano, a very active player in chat, and he likes to trash and joke around. Which always is good for the entertainment factor of StarCraft.
Always such fun games between Stephano and MC when you see them play. They're going back and forth with each other.
Yeah, a little friendly rivalry is probably not so friendly behind the scenes. They meet each other in tons of tournaments, and it was, I think the last one I saw them banter a lot in was the World, at IPL 5, that World Cup thing they had going, where it was Korea versus the world. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And that was really funny to watch, where Stephano came back 4 games and brought the tally to 4 or 5, and then he lost in that 5th game against Parting, I think. No, that wasn't right. I can't remember who, but it was a hell of a good big game to watch. I was watching that at work one day.
Right. What's happening? I think we're going to see some Sentry Immortal play again. He was pretty good at it in the last match. He's got all of his gases going, so he can afford sentries and immortals, and possibly even upgrades.
We don't see the macro hatch that we saw out of Stephano in the last game. But otherwise, yeah, this is pretty much the exact same setup, just on a different map.
I didn't even see the macro hatch last game. I was not paying attention to his main at all.
Oh, is he going to put one down right now? Yes, he is. All right, way to go, Stephano. So, exact same game. Evo and Roachhorn popping at the same time, and he'll put down another Evo chamber if he puts down he's following the last game setup. We did see the Robo into 3 more gates, and a Twilight Council, just exactly like last game.
The Twilight Council. I guess he's going to go for 2/2 right when it finishes, or +2 attack rather.
That's a big timing for Protoss if the Zerg is doing something relatively standard. But Stephano, he looks standard all the time, and this observer is going to come in and see everything again. He looks standard all the time, but he does these personal tweaks to every standard build that just make him a little bit more powerful. And I wonder what he's going to be able to do against this.
Yeah.
But I imagine we're going to see another very passive game out of these two.
It's a little bit like another very famous player. Flash is really famous for having these greedy plays that look greedy, but when it comes down to trying to punish it, he can defend it just like he is being safe. It's unbelievable.
It looks like we're going to see some pressure on Stephano right when MaNa goes to put down his third, and this probe is just going to get eaten up. And he's not going to be able to get that third he wanted before the 10-minute mark. That's always something I do on ladder, is I try to have a third by 10 minutes. That's just one of mine. Oh, and Overlord gets sniped from that observer and hardcap Stephano. But he has 3 coming in right now.
I like we're seeing another probe to build before the army is even cleared out.
A little minor engagement. Some force fields didn't trap anything, and Stephano is going to be doing all he can to keep harassing MaNa while he... I think he's going to go for a 4th back at his home. He's going to force the cancel on this Nexus, and MaNa is not happy with it, trying to do a little bit of damage for punishment's sake. These force fields are not protecting him at all because he was staying in range of all those roaches. And that pylon is even in range. Come on, man.
He's going to disengage here, and he's just going to try to play that third some more. And MaNa's going to go to Colossus to try to push this army out of here. At the same time, the infestation pit is just to finish for Stephano, as well as some spines, just some static defense at that third base, so he can get out on the map and have a little bit of a buffer from any Zealot-type counterattacks.
We see 1-1 coming down, and all of the gases are finally being taken now that he has that infestation pit, and the pressure continues up in the top. Now he's supply capped MaNa 101 of 100, and another Immortal comes in to do a little bit of damage to this Roach Heavy mix, because all of the Lings have been taken out so far. Good force fields trapping 4 Roaches, and more Lings come in to just keep this third off its feet. And a 4th goes down for Stephano in the typical spot.
So this is just small back and forth play. Stephano's doing a really good job of denying this third base, and it's going to start to cause some economic damage soon here. When that 4th base kicks in, for sure, it'll be in a really scary spot for MaNa. But as of right now, he's just committing these resources to holding this base, and he's going to lose them as soon as MaNa's army gets big enough, and that might be right now.
That is the 3rd cancel on that Nexus?
Yeah, the 3rd. The very first one didn't end up getting up because the servants killed him before he roped it in, but...
We have yet another try. Both these players are saving up bank. For Stephano, it's because he's got a 4th inbound, and he's feeling safe with the denial of this third base, but he pulls back home. He's going to let it get up and running, and MaNa was saving up money to keep building that third base. Yeah. And we see some Colossus tech coming out right now, the Thermal Lance, and a number
also a 2nd robotics facility, as well as the 3 attack upgrade. For Stephano, Spire's coming down. You can see Hive relatively soon, I'm sure. As soon as he gets the amount of investors that he wants on the map, he'll go to Hive.
We see a Warp Prism warping in 4 Zealots right here. Is he going to pick them all up and then drop them and then keep warping in on a base, or is he going to just warp in another round with his only... Wow, he's got a number of gateways now. I think 7 on 2 bases, so it's about standard. The gases come up before the Nexus is completed, and the Sword Prism just keeps on moving around the map with 4 Zealots in it. We do see 2-2 ground level and melee, so I assume that Stephano is going to be going into that Broodlord late game. But right now he's sticking with Roachling and bringing in his Infestors, putting a number of Spines at each of his bases to ward off whatever drops are available. And on the map we see 7 Infestors and 3 Queens for 4 bases. Only 3 Queens seems a little bit less, but his creep spread is pretty good nonetheless. At least defensively, he doesn't have any offensive creep spread, and if he kept going with this bottom right creep spread, he would be able to see this Warp Prism eventually. Another Colossus coming out for MaNa right now, and he's got 4 on the field, with no other one coming in. He's got a Chrono boosted robotics facility with nothing in it. Blink's coming down. Greater Spire is coming out for Stephano, and he has yet to research Neuroparasite, but he does have a second Spire down, and there was a pause apparently. I just had huge spikes of lag, says MaNa. 2-2 coming down, and really nothing to speak of. Adrenal Glands is coming out. I'm happy to see that. Always a good upgrade. But I think Stephano, being max, he's going to put on some pressure relatively soon, just so he can clean out some supply for his Broodlords. With these Spines on the high ground, he's going to be pretty safe at his 4th. But all of this huge concave by MaNa, Stephano is not going to move into that, but he will. He's already pre-spread for an attack against this group once they hit the Spine Crawlers, and a number of Infestors are melted right there, 2 of them, with some Corruptors finally coming in to take out all of these Colossi as they attack the 4th base. The Infestors are getting single-shotted by, not single-shotted, but single-targeted by these long-range Corruptors, or Colossi, and the Corruptors are trying to dance their way in there, but these Blink Stalkers are just keeping them out of. Big fungal on one Stalker, and an Immortal gets taken out, but the Colossi are doing their long-range damage to the number of the drones at Stephano's 4th, and I think he should take a 5th right about now. But a big run-in of all of these units. Force fields are okay, but they're not great. They're not keeping out all of the Zerglings. The Corruptors are getting taken out by Blink Stalkers, but not before they take out the Colossi, and more force fields come down, but the Roaches and the Lings have done some damage, and the Corruptors have did their damage, and now it's just a 2 Immortal and mostly Stalker mix with some Sentries against whatever Stephano can bring in, which isn't really all that much. He's got 5 hatcheries, and he's keeping in all of these Infestors are doing what they can to fungal and throw out as many Infested Terrans as they can, but the force fields are much better this game for MaNa. He takes the supply lead, and the Infested Terrans are doing what they can, but MaNa's just going to back away from the Infested Terrans so that they can't do as much damage as possible, and the Roaches are getting destroyed by these Immortals. 23 kills on one, 23 kills on another, and Zealots are being warped in for doing some soaking damage.
This is a really smart angle to attack from, because the Spine Crawlers aren't at this base, they're all in the middle.
Yep.
You're just trying to reposition them, but they're going to die before they even get there.
A couple of desperate pokes by the last of them, and there's only Infestors here with no energy, and there's almost no units down. 4 Broodlords are getting warped in, or not warped in, but morphed in, and 22 Roaches are doing their damnedest to get out before they get beaten up in their egg sacs. But I think MaNa is going to be able to keep rolling over. He's destroyed the 3rd base of Stephano, and his 4th base is free and clear to get manhandled right about now.
Yeah, I mean, he's down in supply, but all the supply is either morphing in or en route, and it's not actually fighting.
And Stephano had a larger than 68 count worth of drones. I mean, he pulled back what he could, but he was at something like 74 drones, so he lost a number of them. But now he's starting to push back MaNa, but he did take a huge economic hit on both of those bases, having to rebuild both of them right about now. He's going to keep cleaning out these semi-forward pylons, and MaNa should be taking his 4th right about now, because his 3rd is heavily oversaturated with 40 probes. Oh, and another Zealot warp in the back with just enough force fields to really annoy Stephano right now. And he's taking a 5th to make up for that economic impact. More Colossi coming out for MaNa to try and remax, but his own economy is taking a pretty decent hit, and he needs to expand. I think this is the same problem he had last game. He did not expand in time, but he did enough damage.
He cut it really close. I mean, he's just now getting his Templar archives, though. That's like he's behind in tech, and he has all this gas banked, and you're wondering why, and that's the reason he hasn't making Templar.
Oh yeah, and he did do heavy storm play last game, which was it's a very, very powerful style if you can get it right.
He still has the high sensory and stalker count, so that can be an effective army as long as he micros properly. Especially against, I think there's not very many broodlords on the map right now. Let me check. There's only 4 right now.
Only 4. There are 12 infestors, and they are all at about half energy.
So I mean, this many blink stalkers with sentries, that's a pretty potent army even against that composition. Especially with this 3 attack, they're going to do so much damage. And now adding 2 Colossus in at a time, that'll be a ton of splash damage too, even without the Psy Storm.
Yep. Stephano's at 2-2, got 3-3 on the way. All of the Zerglings run in and get melted by those Colossi right away. The Roaches are doing a nice concave.
Down.
Oh yeah, big feedbacks. It's that the Broodlords are doing what they can, but the force fields have kept most of the army at bay, and a big remax of 38 Zerglings coming in. But the Colossi are doing their damnedest to take out some of these things. 18 kills on another, 22 kills on the other. There's probably a lot of that is Broodlings, but MaNa is taking some of the fight to Stephano, killing a number of these Roaches, and all of these infestors with low energy. If they're not microed back, they're going to get melted by those Colossi. A big blink forward to start taking out the Broodlords. 1 down, 2 down, 3 getting targeted down, and the last one will be picked up right now. 4 Colossi coming out, and all of these infestors are in big trouble if they don't get out of here, because these blink forward are just going to take them out, but the Ling run in is just going to save them. And the Colossi is going to keep melting some Lings and some infested Terrans.
The Colossus has so many kills.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. The Observer's just seeing everything. A big pull-out of drones from the 4th. He has no knowledge of the 5th. MaNa doesn't. And I just hit the back button. Damn it. Alright, I'm at 24-13. He's moving in. Oh well.
I was at 24-25.
Alright, go. Alright, we're back even again. So, another Broodlord's going to get picked off even before it's finished morphing. 1 Archon is in this mix trying to get his hand and doing some damage. The Corruptors are finally taking out one of the Colossi. A big blink takes out 2 of the Corruptors before it can take out the remaining Colossus. And
the 56 kill Colossus, yeah.
Oh, hero Colossus, Executor. 3 more Broodlords are here. 4 more getting morphed in. A big blink forward by MaNa. Stephano, he's doing what he can, but he has lost a whole lot of resources. He's lost 4,000 more resources than MaNa does, and that's of course not counting the free infested Terrans. 11 Roaches on the way, another Colossus, and he's just continuing to blink forward. And the Archon gets taken out, but all of these Broodlords are being transfused all to get out by some very enthusiastic Queen and all of the... That was a very bad blink forward decision by MaNa, losing all of his Stalkers at once. Now he has almost no money, and he's continuing to move forward.
Done some crazy micro in these fights. I have to commend MaNa for whooping in those Templars, and I was thinking to myself, why does he make them into Archons? But and then I realized he could still feed back. It's one of those abilities you just kind of forget about if you don't play Protoss a lot.
Yep. He is losing a whole lot just from these Warpids, though. I mean, he's going to lose a Colossi to these 4 Roaches who are targeting it down. The Infestors have almost no energy, but they just keep throwing out those infested Terrans to keep pushing MaNa back. He's losing forward pylons, and MaNa is in dire straits right now, having only 1 mining base.
81 supply.
And no money. A good game from MaNa, and he leaves. So that is game 2 of MaNa and Stephano, with Stephano taking it 2-0, and we will continue to bring you games from IronSquid. From Chaotic TV, I am Chaotic.
This is Clips.
And we'll see you very soon. Thanks very much for watching. Cheers.